Hey, what's going on everybody? It's me, Steve Strobridge with Florida Computer Care. And guess what I'm here to do today for you, folks? I'm here to show you how to create a recovery drive for Windows 10. Why is this important? Well, I'll tell you why. Because if you are like most of us who have Windows 10, you did not run out and buy a brand new computer. You upgraded your computer to Windows 10. In my house, between my home computers and my work computers, I have upgraded 5 computers to Windows 10. And 4 out of 5 worked fine. Matter of fact, all 5 of them upgraded fine. However, one of those, which was a laptop, my daughter's laptop, it ran into a problem where it could no longer boot. It said, Windows cannot start. Please insert recovery media to diagnose and repair this computer. The problem with Windows 8 and the problem with Windows 10 is there is no easy way to get into a pre-boot diagnostic mode. The old Windows 7, you could press function key 8, you could get into a manual startup mode, you could try to do a startup repair, you could try to get into safe mode. There was a lot of things you could do by pressing a few keys and trying to troubleshoot stalled operating systems. Windows 8 doesn't make it that easy in a pre-boot environment. You almost have to have a recovery disk. Now, let's say that this computer I upgraded was the only computer I had, and now it didn't boot, and now it's saying you need to install recovery media to repair this computer. I would have been up the creek without a paddle. So what I would suggest you do, if you upgrade to Windows 10, as soon as you can, make one of these. And this happens to be a 16 gigabyte flash drive, and I recommend you get a 16 gigabyte flash drive because it will actually cover it will actually back up the entire what's called the recovery partition. So if you've got 16 gigabytes of space, you can not only install just the bootable portion of this, but you can also install the whole recovery portion. So 16 gigabyte flash drive should not even cost you $20. I think I got a 3-pack of these things for like $24 or $30 or something like that. So they're relatively cheap. So how do we do this? What you want to do is you want to go ahead and click in your little search bar down here. The nice thing about Windows 10 is there is a search bar right next to the start button, right? In that search bar, if you start to type in the word recovery, you have to spell it properly. If you start to type in the word recovery, you're going to see an option to create a recovery drive. There's an actual app for that. As the old saying goes, there's an app for that. So we're going to run the create a recovery drive app for Windows 10. I'm going to click on this guy, and here's the option here. Do you want to back up system files to the recovery drive? This is the one that's going to make it take more space. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this flash drive in the front of my tower here, and that should give me the disk I need. Pardon me. Okay, I've stuck in the flash drive. Now I'm going to go ahead and make sure that this is checked here that says backup system files to the recovery drive. I'm going to hit next, and now we're going to get a please wait. And this might take a while. This might take, I'm not exactly sure. What I'm going to probably end up doing in this video is I will edit this down and compress the time. So if it takes 10 minutes, we're not going to sit here for 10 minutes. But it actually has detected the removable drive I've just inserted. It says, okay, here it says it must be able to hold at least 8 gigabytes. So I stand corrected. I said 16. But so it wants you to have at least an 8 gigabyte flash drive. And those are just as inexpensive to get. Mine happens to be 16 gigs. I'm going to go ahead and hit next, and it's even warning you here right now. Everything on this drive will be deleted. Warning, danger, Will Robinson. If you have any personal files on the drive, make sure you've backed up the files. And so this is one that I actually just pre-formatted before this experiment here, so I'm not worried about it. But just be warned, if this had other things like pictures or music and this was your portable swapping data drive, you might want to back that data up somewhere else before you do that. I suggest you buy one. You make this, you have a separate dedicated flash drive, and you stick it in a drawer somewhere, and it becomes in case of emergency break glass type situation here. So now we're going to go ahead and hit create. And at this point here, Windows is going to do its thing. It's going to start to format the drive. It's going to start to copy all of the files over. When it's done, it's going to tell me, hey, the drive has been done. You can now remove this drive and you can use this drive. How do you end up using this drive when it's done? That is going to vary by the make and model of your computer, but almost every computer has the ability to press a certain key to modify your boot sequence and modify what device you boot from first. So on Dell computers, it's almost always F12. If you press function key F12 when you first turn it on and you keep tapping on that key, you'll then get to a boot menu and you'll see a list of options. So to say, do you want to boot from your internal hard drive? Do you want to boot from your DVD ROM drive? Do you want to boot from a removable USB flash media? And you'll get a couple of choices. So how you manually boot from this drive will vary depending on the make and model of your computer, but that information is fairly common. I will have separate videos to show you how to get into recovery mode for different types of computers. Like HP, it's usually F9 is one way to get into a boot mode, or sometimes you press escape on an HP computer to get a list of options. Dell, it's almost always F12 to get into a selective boot mode. So it really depends. All right, well, this thing finally finished, and yeah, I want to say this took probably 15-20 minutes. It took a while, but 15 minutes is still worth the time to make it. When it's done, it says that your recovery drive is ready and it's wanting you to click finish. Now, it's also giving you an option here to delete your recovery partition. And unless you're really running out of space, I would say don't do that. The recovery partition is actually on the hard drive, on your C drive. There's a hidden portion of your hard drive that's supposed to help you get into a diagnostic mode and do some things, or even restore your operating system to factory defaults. So I would suggest not doing this unless you're really hurting for space. So I would leave that alone and just hit finish. And at this point, the flash drive has been done. It's really hard to see what it's going to do for us right now. If I was to click on my folder browser here, and I was to look at like what's in my computer, it actually labeled this drive recovery. And if I want to see how much space this thing took up, because it warned me it was going to take up about 8 gigs. Yeah, so it used 7.71 gigabytes. It used up almost 8 gigabytes. And it's a disk that's labeled recovery. I can now eject this disk from my computer. I'll go ahead and do that. And now I can pull it out. And what I will probably do is I'll print a little label and I'll stick on here, and I will call this Win 10 Recovery, and I'll keep this somewhere safe because I've now got 5 Windows 10 machines in my house, and at some point in time I will need one of these things again. So I hope you found this useful and helpful. I would strongly suggest, if you've got Windows 10 running, it doesn't matter if you upgraded to Windows 10 or if you actually purchased a new computer, that you run out and buy yourself an 8 gig flash drive, which won't cost you that much money. Find the app, run the app, create this, label it, and put it somewhere safe, because this becomes your lifesaver whenever you run into a situation where Windows will not boot. So there you have it, folks. That is how to create a Windows 10 recovery flash drive. My name is Steve Strobridge. My company is Florida Computer Care. This is one of the many videos you will find on the YouTube channel. What can you do to show your love for this? Number one, subscribe. Click on the subscribe button on the YouTube page. The other thing you can do is click on the like button on the YouTube page. And last but not least, if you want to throw out a comment and tell me what you thought about this video, or throw out a suggestion for something you would like to see, that would be great. And if you really want to, share it with friends. There's a share button you can click on. You can share this with all of your social media, and you can even connect with me on social media by going to my website, flcomputercare.com. Links to everything there. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy this. I will see you all next time. Bye-bye now.